Hey, and welcome back. This is the third installment of my shop build. I apologize, it's been a while since I put out the last one. My time's been really occupied with trying to get this shop built as well as other stuff I've got going on. So putting together these videos has been a little bit of a low priority. This one's all going to be sped up footage with me doing voiceover to kind of explain what was going on, what we were doing. As of filming this, I'm quite a bit ahead of what you're going to see in this footage. So I'm trying to catch up a little bit, but I didn't want to just like cut out, what we were doing. I'm also finding it kind of difficult to work and film. Even though I've done some videos, it's definitely still like a big learning curve for me to figure out kind of balancing that, because the whole filming of stuff is a completely new thing and a whole nother layer to just working on something. And part of that, when my father's here working with me, I don't really want to delay things and take the time to stop and change the camera and set stuff up. As well as some of the stuff, not in this video, but later on, some of the stuff I've already done. I'm just like super exhausted really working on some of the stuff. Some of my thought is just sort of like, I don't really want to take the energy to deal with the video, even though I know that I should. And so I'm trying to get better about that. But at this point too, the shop's taking me a lot longer than I had planned. Originally I wanted to finish the shop before winter, and at this point I think if I can just get the structure up, like the roof and the walls up before it snows, I can finish the inside after. So I've really been taking a big priority to just push and like get everything done. And unfortunately my videos have taken a back seat to that. So with that being said, let's get into this video and I can explain what we were doing. So when we left off, we still had just like the last end boards of the roof to take off. So that's what we're doing here. We'd started at the peak and kind of taken the boards off towards the edge, because this end one we could get basically from the ground. So there's just those couple made to take off. You can see me pulling a couple nails. We've been trying to reclaim as much wood as we can. So I'm taking all the nails out, but we also don't want pieces of wood laying around with nails, especially because I have a son, a young son. Nor do we want to step on them ourselves. So we're on the other side of the shop taking off that last board as well on that side. All the boards we're taking off, I've got a pile stacking up of all the good stuff that we can salvage. Some of the stuff's rotted and some of it cracked or broke or whatever. But I'm trying to pile up all the good stuff and try to reuse as much as possible to keep my costs down. This short board on the end here, we figure must have been a repair at some point. The roof must have leaked. You can see that one rafter had a second piece tied onto the edge of it. And that was all... looked like rot, which maybe some of it was, but it definitely had ants in it. So we figured the roof must have leaked at one point. Here I am trying to climb up. We got to take all the rafters off, and they were toenailed in on the ends pretty heavily. So they were hard to dig out. So we thought if we could kind of cut them all apart and sort of go at them individually, it might be a little bit easier. So we put some boards up, those two pieces going across, so that we could stand up there and cut them apart. So So I'd originally tried using the skill saw, which you saw me earlier using. It didn't go so well because once I cut through, it kind of moved and pinched the blade. So it was a lot easier just to kind of use the hand saw and go one by one, cut the pieces all apart. It's kind of funny trying to get down from that. We didn't show it in the video, but I was hot and tired and kind of stuck under the rafters, and it took me a while to maneuver out of there. Now that they're all cut apart, my dad's trying to pry out those toenails I was telling you about. They used some pretty good sized nails too, and they crossed each other diagonally because they toenailed from each side, so they were pretty stubborn to get out of there. But we just went one by one. Since they were cut out, it was easy to kind of drop them. It just made the process a lot quicker. So all these rocks you're seeing in this pile, I dug all those out of the floor. And I wanted to get all those out of there because, I mean, they're going to be in the way, some. I wasn't quite sure where they'd all end up with the floor, but I want to try to minimize them all kind of heaving up under the floor as well. So I'm going to have a brick floor. I didn't want giant rocks in the way, getting in the way of laying the brick, but also later heaving and trying to minimize the amount my bricks move and stuff. So I just got a spot out in the backyard where there were already a pile of rocks. Some that were there, some I had already put there from other places we moved them, so we figured it'd be a good place to throw all these ones. Something this video is not really capturing is a lot of this was done earlier in the summer. And it got pretty hot some of these days, and we were out there for long hours getting sweaty and tired and kind of at the point of moving some of these rocks. I mean, probably half exhausted, and they're heavy. There were a number of them on the side of the shop as well. That's what those ones are that we're moving right now. Those weren't inside. I think those two we moved were actually along the barn next to my shop that I had moved earlier when we fixed something under the barn. There were quite a few rocks too. This took a number of trips. Later on, after the shop walls were tore down, I did a lot more digging in the shop, which you'll, I think, see some of that, and I found a lot more rocks in there as well. So here we're just moving all these cinder blocks and stuff that were stacked up. I think originally the shop sat on cinder blocks. Those ones I had placed there earlier. You can see on the barn behind us, that section with cinder blocks. We had jacked up the barn just a tiny bit. And I put all those cinder blocks there because we had animals crawling under there like a big porcupine. And I started digging around the shop a little bit, and there was a bunch of pile of rocks there and junk, and I ended up sticking all those cinder blocks there to kind of fill some stuff in. So we're moving all those out of the way and a couple larger rocks. So this was a different day, and we're back at the roof rafters. You can see obviously they're all down, so now we're just kind of tearing the pieces apart. Again, taking out the nails and reclaiming what pieces we can to utilize later on when we're building. So here we've got all those rafter pieces off. Now we're going to try to take out those two cross ties. Again, I think they were toe-nailed in pretty tough. So now I just got to tear off those last little pieces from tearing the roof off. Those were all kind of wedged in, toe-nailed in. We're going to replace all the rafters with thicker material, so I ended up splitting some of those out a little bit. I wasn't worried about it though, knowing that we were going to replace the material up there. So that one, you can see it just kind of tear it out. I wasn't worried about it, knowing that that was going to be replaced. So now we're finally getting to the point where we can tear the corners of the shop apart. I think I stated before in one of these videos that the plan is to take all 4 walls apart, repair all the rot, pour cement for the footings of the building, since right now it's just sitting on the ground, which is half the reason why it was all rotted. So we're tearing these apart so we can cut the walls apart. So once we tore that off, we discovered ants again, so you can see me spraying there. I've basically lost count how many times we found ants in this building. So that window I'm taking out, eventually there's going to be a doorway there. So here my dad tore that corner off again. You can see the spray because we found another ant colony, and that makes 3 out of the 4 corner posts that had ants in them. So here you can see us taking off the original door. It was the front door, now it'll be the back door. I will leave it though because it has good access from my driveway, so it might be nice to be able to load stuff sometimes. So thanks for watching. That's going to do it for this video. Like I said before, I'm quite a bit further ahead in this shop build than what you saw in this video. So hopefully that means I can get the next one out to you quicker than this one, and as I move forward, I'm hoping I can keep on a better schedule of getting these out. If you've missed the other parts of this shop build, I'll link those below. Please consider subscribing to my channel, as that really helps me out, and it'll keep you up to date on this shop build as well as other projects I have working on. For more up-to-date information, you can check out my Instagram, Greasy Luck Forge. Thanks!